Battlefield 6 Season 2 is here. We have a roadmap. We have patch notes. We have everything we need for a new season. And of course, as expected, everyone are losing their minds because this is a horrible season, apparently. Lack of content, lack of everything. We'll talk about that. Welcome to Battlefield 1 Podcast, the best Battlefield podcast on the planet. My name is Tom, also known as TheLankySoldier. And we're gonna talk about, we have so many conversations that we need to cover. It's just, the notes are so big, I don't know how to navigate through them. So instead of going, being a really technical episode about Season 2, let me just talk about something that no one really talks about this kind of stuff anywhere on Reddit and everything. It's easy to be angry, but let's look at this from a different perspective. And I'm not talking about from a positive perspective, but just from a different perspective, because there's a much, much bigger story here than people realize. So anyway, welcome to the Battlefield 1 Podcast. Let's talk about Battlefield.
But then when you've got Angel screaming, Angel does it again, and
that was something, right?
That was something.
I'm sorry, you cancelled the support for the game a month ago.
Why would they even host a trade?
I don't know.
And I sit down and he picks up one donut and eats it. So you want to QA games?
When the rubber meets the road, they're gonna be like, oh my god, I don't like seeing Mario get his skull smashed.
Oh, I would love to see
doesn't
that.
work.
I would love to
Yeah,
see
again.
that. Right, first and foremost, I want to thank our listeners, our regulars, and everything for joining us for another episode of Battlefield 1 Podcast. It means a lot that you guys decide to listen to us once a week, spend an hour with us. Thank you so much. And of course, thank you so much to our Patreon supporters. Without your support, this podcast would not be existing, would not be going, and all that kind of stuff. So thank you, our Patreon supporters, patreon.com/TheLankySoldier for early access and extra episodes. Thank you so much for your support and all that kind of stuff. It means everything to us. And as you realize by now, Ray is not available. Well, okay, I'm lying. He's available for this episode, but I have him for 2 hours today. And I decided, you know what? After all this Season 2 stuff that has been happening, there was loads of discussions happening, in our Discord, on Reddit, on Twitter, or any social media account you can think of, YouTube, right? There's so many things happened, so many conversations happened, and people are discussing all that kind of stuff, and loads of emotions are happening around. Everyone are really emotionally charged about Season 2. I don't know, to me, it's kind of obvious what was happening. I already said a month ago, or maybe even before, no matter what happens with Season 2, people gonna get mad, for obvious reasons. And the reason why Ray is not available for this episode, not available, he is available, but I decided, you know what, no, let me sit down by myself, take a step back, and just analyze everything that is going on right now, explain to you guys what's going on. And for example, there were some moments, for example, me, him, and someone else, we were talking in Discord about Season 2 in general, and all of us lost our composure. Just all of us. Even I lost my composure, because I'm usually a level-headed guy when it comes to just gaming and all, analyzing what's going on and all that kind of stuff. I'm usually a level-headed guy, because if I bitch about something, it's usually for a good reason. If you've been listening to Battlefield 1 Podcast for a while, you know that I don't bitch for the sake of bitching. I bitch for a reason. If I say something negative, it has to be with a reason. It's always been like that since I started this podcast. So, and Ray usually presents the mainstream audience when it comes to Battlefield community, and I just after we had these conversations and we lost our composure basically about Season 2, I realized, you know what, I don't want this episode to be a bitching session about some incompetence or lack of content, whatever the case may be. I don't want to be an echo chamber the subreddit, the Battlefield subreddit, or the social media, or whatever the case may be. I don't want that. Sorry, I burped. I don't want to be a bitching episode. Bitching episode. And Ray, like me, is emotionally charged right now regarding all the kind of stuff, including other content creators and just players and everything. Everyone are really, really angry. And I think we just need to take a step back. Not to defend DICE, or Battlefield Studios in this case. No, quite the opposite. Look at this from a different perspective, what's going on. And when we realize what's going on, we can look at things differently, So I just decided, you know what? I'll do a Patreon episode with Ray. So a Patreon exclusive episode, another LGG episode. I'm gonna talk about all of this on that Patreon episode. So if you're listening this on the public feeds, not Patreon, if you're listening this on Spotify on Tuesday as the season 2 starts, you can listen to the Patreon episode where me and Ray talked about this, season 2 stuff. And I decided like it's best for you listeners and for me, for my personal, I don't know what to call it, sanity, that I rather not have a bitching session about season 2. Let me just take a step back and just talk about something that is nowhere discussed. Now, if it's discussed, it's in such small corners of the internet, it flies under the radar. No one even notices that. So that's why Ray is not available, because I decided to, you know what, if I have him for 2 hours, I might as well do a Patreon episode where we are a bit more freely and just be honest. But of course, this episode is going to be honest, but it's going to be more from a technical point of view, because I am that type of person. I don't want, like I said, I don't want this to become a bitching session, because this podcast now was not created for the reason to bitch about someone's mistakes or something like that. So that's why I decided, you know what, let me do a Patreon episode with Ray, and let me do a not technical, but like, I don't even call it a philosophical, I guess. I don't know. Like, there's so many things that we need to discuss. Like I said, my notes are so meaty, they're all over the place. And the way I work usually, like, I go through the news, I go through the conversations, I put them in the notes, and then after that, before the recording, I'll just like sort them out just to make it sense for the for listening experience. But I'm like, you know what? This is so much. I'm like, decide, you know what? Nah, screw this. That's why I'm recording this by myself, and on the Patreon episode with Ray, we'll be a bit more free and more emotional regarding all this kind of stuff. But just like for the public app, I decided, it's for the best for everyone. At least try to be the voice of reason once in a while, because we do have a big audience, we do have some impact, and I know developers are listening to this on a regular basis. I do know that. I always talk to some developers and everything, and they let me know what's going on. Like, of course, they don't tell me some important stuff because NDAs and shit, but I'm glad they sharing that information with me in some capacity, because it does paint a different perspective. And of course, doesn't mean I have to take the developer's word for granted. Of course not. But it's just one of those things that I kind of need to like take a step back as a player or as a person with some audience. Take responsibility and look at this from a neutral point of view, because it's easy to be angry. That's the thing. It's really easy to be angry at everything that is going on with Battlefield 6 and Season 2. And trust me, I am angry. I am really, really angry what's going on. But I'm like, can I be angry forever? What's the point? It's just going to make me miserable, right? So that's that. That's the type of idea I was going for this episode. So how it's going to go, we'll see, I guess. So, but yeah, thank you guys for joining in and listening to Battlefield 1 podcast, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, when you're listening to this on public feeds, Season 2 is already started. It will, because we release the episodes 1 p.m. UK time on Tuesday every week. So the season is already going for an hour when this episode is going to be up. So let's talk about Season 2. Let's just quickly mention what's happening in Season 2. Okay, so Season 2 is finally here. So I'm not going to tell you about the content and everything. I will tell you about the content, because some of you probably just don't really care. You care just what's happening with Battlefield in general. So Season 2 is happening. They released a roadmap, released patch notes and everything. And I'm not going to go through patch notes that much, because there's no point, because you're already playing Season 2. But I'm just going to go through the actual Season 2 roadmap and why people are angry. So, as the season starts, we get one new map called Contaminated, which we already talked about. Looks like a good map, looks actually a pretty decent map, actually, so that's good. We have a new limited time mode, another limited time mode, and another limited time mode. So, okay, 3 limited time modes in the month from February 17th to March 17th. So 3 limited time modes and 1 new map. We get the little bird from the get-go, so both factions get a little bird, and if I remember the patch notes, Well, I actually need to read. Do I should tell you on which maps? Okay, the little. Oh, okay, we go. Fine. The Little Bird is available on the Manhattan Bridge, Operation Firestorm, New Subic City, Marek Valley, that's Conquest, and on Escalation it's available on Manhattan Bridge, Eastwood, Operation Firestorm, New Subic City, and Marek Valley. So okay, it's just Eastwood on Escalation is available. So the Little Bird is mostly available on all vehicle type of maps. So that's great. So with Season 2 we also get how many weapons? We get 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 weapons, a gadget. Sorry, 2 gadgets. 2 gadgets, 3 weapons in the first month, which I think is fine. Then March 17th, we get a new map, which is basically called Hagental Base. Hagental Bells. They're going for the German thing. It's called Hagental Bells. I don't know why I can pronounce it. So it's basically a Loca/Metro inspired type of map, which is great. I don't think a Battlefield game is complete without a map like that. So that alone is gonna make people happy. So I think that's cool. We get another limited time mode, Nightfall, which is basically a night vision goggle type of mode. So it's like if you played Modern Warfare 2019 when it came out, they had a thing called like night vision, I can't remember what was it called. It was called something, but it was basically a dark. All the maps were at night, pitch black, literally pitch black, and you had to use the night vision goggles to see anything on the map. And it was like a tactical, cool type of mode and everything. It was really cool. I mean, Call of Duty players did not really enjoy that much, but Battlefield players will enjoy that kind of stuff. So that's this is what kind of limited time mode is, which is I think is really exciting. So, and it's gonna be on this one map, which is this one that I mentioned, the Hagental Base, which is the Loca/Metro inspired type of map. And I think that's kind of cool. I kind of wish we could expand this to other maps, but we will see how this works, you know. And there's another limited time mode for Gauntlet. So, actually, wait, there was another Gauntlet mode on the first month. Regardless, a limited time mode, right? Another limited time mode. So now we already have 5 limited time modes in 2 months. RedSec is getting a new point of interest location. So, like, updated location, all that kind of stuff. So, okay, that's cool, whatever. Then we get a dirt bike, we get a new weapon, and another new weapon. Okay, so now we have 5 weapons, 2 gadgets, 2 new vehicles, basically, a new map, 2 new maps, and 5 limited time modes. And of course, April 14, we got, another limited time mode. It's basically operations. So we talked about, I think it was me. A couple of episodes ago, I mentioned that there's operations is coming back to Battlefield 6, and operations is basically the same thing that happened in Battlefield 1. Like, it's basically the original breakthrough. And operations was like a cinematic type of experience for breakthrough, right? Because that was the original breakthrough, and after that it kind of became like a singular standard mode, so it kind of like whatever. But operations is a bit different from breakthrough because it has a bit more storytelling in there, which is kind of cool. So operations, or at least one operation, is coming back to Battlefield 6, and it's taking place on the new map, on these 2 new maps, Contaminated and Hagental Base. So, which is cool. So you do one map, and then you progress to the next map. In the leaks, they said that Marek Valley is going to be part of it. Maybe it's going to be for the next operation coming Season 3. God knows. But that's happening. So another limited time mode. And we'll talk about the limited time modes. I'll mention that. There's some portal updates in April, which is 2 months after the season starts. A new bonus pad, the extended extra mini battle pass, we call them. That's what we call it on the podcast, with the mini battle pass. And we have a new vehicle. And we have a new melee weapon, which kind of looks, wow, it's a cosmetic type of melee weapon. So I'm not gonna judge too much. So on the surface, it looks fine. So if you enjoy Battlefield 6 Season 1, if you enjoyed it, minus the extension that happened back in January, I think this is fine. I think this is fine. This is like, is it the most amazing thing? Of course not. Quite the opposite. It's like, it's bare minimum in a sense. But season 1 was kind of fine. It just like felt long because of the extension. And all this content we're getting, it's the same thing as we had for season 1. So season 2 is basically the same as season 1. And if you enjoyed that, it's great for you. I did not mind it. I think it was okay. Can it be better? Of course. But did I was really mad about it or annoyed or like, oh, not enough maps or not enough content? Not really. Because my personal problem with Battlefield 6 is not really the content, it's the actual gameplay stuff that is like around the rough edges that piss me off sometimes in this game. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but there's literally no RedSec updates. Like, there's only one small update on the location of the map, and that's it. In the patch notes, of course, they give a bit more details what's happening with RedSec or just like, or Battlefield 6 in general. But I think this is fine. But in a sense, I do agree that another map would be nice. A map a month, I think should be the minimal. But I'm just thinking, okay, let's say, all right, we get a new map in February, like with the season 2 starts, Contaminate, okay. In March, we get Hagentil Base, which is the Metro Loco inspired map, which I think no Battlefield game is complete without a map like that. So that's that. And in April, we could be getting another map, which I don't know what kind of map you could, but like, it could be something, right? It doesn't have to be the biggest thing ever. But here's the thing: it's no matter what, people will bitch. But for me personally, it's not the lack of content; it's the lack of effort in some other areas of the game, and that's what sticks out to me personally. So I think it's fine. I think the number of content is fine, but I kind of have to agree with everyone else. Another map would be nice. A map would be nice, and of course, actually, sure, we didn't talk about with this again. You know what? Let me go. For example, let me go through the patch notes quickly. Actually, I need to open them. Idiot me did not open the patch notes. Patch notes. You know what? It doesn't really matter. I'm not even gonna open the patch notes because there's no point. Because there's loads of in the patch notes it literally said fix. Like, okay, cool. What did you do? Okay, you fixed some bugs. Okay, cool, whatever. But did you change anything meaningful and all that kind of stuff in this season 2? And sometimes when I read the patch notes, I know that patch notes can be a lie sometimes, or I'm not even okay, lie is a kind of strong word here. Well, not a lie, more like misinformation or information that was not supposed to be public or wrong information, because I don't really trust patch notes anymore for many different reasons, because loads of stuff get missed, or everything that's included in the patch notes, it's not coming with this patch. So for example, they say in the patch notes, oh, we're reducing the slide momentum or something like that by 25%. And on paper, that sounds really horrible. It does sounds horrible. But then again, when you think about it for a moment, it's it doesn't. It kind of makes it better. But there's a patch notes. You can't trust patch notes. And the truest patch notes we can ever trust is us launching the game, playing the game, and finding all the changes they did. That's the only way, the truest patch notes we can believe in, because the patch notes can say I don't know, we added a new feature where something, right? But that feature is not in the patch notes. But when you play the game, it's something else entirely, or something like that. Whatever it's just you should not trust the patch notes. Yeah, it's a good indicator what's happening with the game. But when it comes to tiny details, what specific changes and everything, it's usually wrong. And I don't know if it's because of miscommunication, the company, because it doesn't happen at Battlefield Studios only. It happens with other studios too. So it is some sort of universal problem that developers and community managers and everything I'd have to deal with. That something somehow misses. There's loads of moving pieces, and it's kind of hard to keep track of everything. So it's a universal problem with every studio, unfortunately. So yeah, I don't really trust the patch notes. We will see. We'll play the game, and we'll judge ourselves, and we'll find the problems that we can, we notice, or whatever the case may be, like, or what got changed. Start people see what people saying about the patch notes, what people say about the game, all that kind of stuff, and that's that. So yeah, when it comes to multiplayer, like I said, with multiplayer, I think it's fine, but it's just people are mad for lack of content, which in a sense I kind of agree. But also, the patch notes, for example, never mentioned weapon progression. Weapon progression was never mentioned. I don't understand why. But weapon progression is probably the biggest problem in Battlefield 6 right now. So that's that. There's, of course, other things like no mentions of the platoons, for example. Platoons is still coming. They mentioned platoons once after the game came out. It's like, yeah, we heard about the platoons. Okay. Are you doing anything about platoons? Right. I don't know. You haven't mentioned anything for 2-3 months. How the fuck am I supposed to know? Of course, there's no mention about changes to the UI. For example, the menu itself is horrendous. Which I will talk about RedSec in a moment in a different thing. But for example, no big class balances. Is the steam why the steam shot is not being changed for the assault class, or why no air radar is nowhere to be seen? I know they mentioned they're gonna test it in the Battlefield labs, but you could mention that like, hey, we're gonna test this in labs and everything, and all that kind of stuff. For example, incendiary grenades, they're still broken, they still go through walls, which is funny enough. That was a problem back in Battlefield 4, 10 years ago, until they fixed it in Battlefield CTE, and they fixed it in the retail Battlefield 4. So you can see incendiary grenades going through walls, but at least they don't damage you through walls. So that's that, and that's the same problem we have in Battlefield 6. They go through walls and do damage, which is stupid. People talk about persistent lobbies, like this should be a thing, but you know what? I don't think people realize, like, I know there was comment from David Serlin said he's not happy how the matchmaking kind of works, and all, which I fully understand. But at the same time, I kind of have to disagree with people regarding, we need persistent lobbies and everything. They kind of work, at least on smaller modes, but I don't know if because when I play Domination or King of the Hill, because I do like to play those modes to level up certain weapons, because it's just the most easiest way to do it, I do get the same players in the same lobby on loads of time, but I don't know if it's because of the custom search. So that could be it. Custom search itself kind of fucks up the matchmaking. I don't think people realize how much it does fuck up the matchmaking in terms of like server availability, the player availability, and where to put the player and all that kind of stuff. That kind of fucks up because it's like it creates these specific parameters for the player. For example, like when I do custom search, I do King of the Hill Domination on specific maps that I want, because I know those maps are good and fun. I don't want to play Blackfield Fields or whatever, Blackwell Fields on Domination or King of the Hill or whatever that case maybe. Like, I don't want to play it. Like, it's a horrible map, and it's a horrible game mode on those. Like, actually, it's a horrible map in general, but it's just like I don't want to play those. Like, so that's that. So there's loads of things that I have to disagree with. Persistent servers, like persistent lobbies. Loads of things missing. Loads of things missing for Season 2. But then again, Season 2 was made a couple months ago, All this was made months ago. And I understand, for example, that... You know what? Actually, let's go to the different conversation. Is the delay was necessary for this season? Okay, so Season 2 was delayed, as you already know. It was delayed. And people are angry that, you know what? Why this was delayed? What's the point? You're not adding any new content. You're not adding anything new or whatever it is. What's the point of this delay? You could release it back in January 17, like whatever it was, 15, 17, whatever. You could release it a month ago and we'll be fine. Here's the thing. I don't think people realize that there's a bigger story here. Season 2 was delayed not because of the content. The content thing was approved months ago, and that was locked in. That's it. That was locked in, and that was that's it. They were not adding new content. They were not adding new maps. They were not adding new weapons, whatever the case may be. That's it. Season 2 was locked before New Year's. Maybe even before December. That the content was locked. That's it. That's how it works. So that's that. So why was delayed? Well, let's go back to the original. Like, if you've been listening to the Battlefield 1 podcast for a while, like more than a year, you know what I'm gonna say because I already talked about it. But if I haven't, if you're new here, let me just say this: a year ago, when the Labs was announced, I was saying this game is not coming out 2025. It's not coming out October 10th, right? It's like that was before we even knew when the game, what game is going to be called, or when the date and everything. I just said, like, as soon as the Labs was announced, even they mentioned maybe December 2024, as we were winding up with 2042 stuff. I said, like, the game is not coming out this year. There's no way, because that's why the Labs exist, and then there's like third-party gaming journalists talking about certain games, but they never mentioned those games, but you can kind of tell which game they're talking about. It was pretty obvious when you connect the dots. And one of the games what they were talking about literally was Battlefield. Like, listen, the Battlefield is scheduled for 2026 March, so the game will be coming out in a month or two from now as you listen to this podcast. But someone made an important decision, whether it be a GTA 6 delay, or Call of Duty was not doing well, or there was something else that maybe something to do with the company being sold to the Saudi. This, my guess is good as yours, right? The one comes with that kind of stuff. So basically, the game was supposed to come out 2026 March or April, whatever. But someone made the decision to release the game early, October 10th. And we were saying, like, before the even announcement, like, this game is not coming out later this year. It's not coming out later this year. And the articles and everything is just saying, like, yeah, the game is not coming out this year. And then out of nowhere, we get a reveal, a very, 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 very late reveal, which basically said, oh yeah, okay, if it's a very late reveal, that means the game is definitely not coming later this year. There's no way. There's not coming. And then they dropped the bomb saying, yeah, it's coming in 2 months, boys and girls. The beta literally starts in a week or two. Like, huh? Huh? What do you mean? What do you mean? So that happened. So game was announced late, and the release date is very fast. This is probably the fastest, definitely the fastest release date or the release schedule we ever had in any Battlefield game. I don't think even Call of Duty was that fast. Like, I don't think a Call of Duty game was even that fast after announcement and the release. Like, it's insanity. Like, this is the fastest turnaround we ever. Like, so you can imagine what kind of reactions we had back in when that was announced back in August 2025, right? With all the reveal and everything. It was, and I was saying, okay, don't know how the fuck and how and what, but let me tell you this: the game is gonna be bare bones. It's gonna be very shallow, regardless if it's good or bad, and there's gonna be a big lack of content, and they will have to do catch up. That's why I said back in August. There's a public record of me saying that. I can't remember which August episode was it, but that's why I said. Lo and behold, it did happen. The game was bare bones. It's a good game, don't get me wrong. It's a good Battlefield game. I'm still having fun with Battlefield 6. But boy, you can't tell me that the game is not fucking undercooked. You cannot tell me it's not undercooked. Boy, they cut so many corners to make sure this game releases on this specific date. And there was barely any content. There was barely any, I don't know what to call it, polish. There's lack of stuff. Like, there's stuff that is lacking in the game that is just like, wow, okay, so, and yeah, I was right. I was saying it. Like, I was the only one saying this game is gonna be bare bones, and it happened. And now, 4 months later after the release, like I said, they're doing catch up. They have to catch up with it. That's why Galore Railway was announced. Is because, hey, just to calm people down. Listen, big maps are coming. But why Galmud? Well, if you listened to a couple of episodes ago when I talked about why Galmud, it's because they have to remake certain technologies on this new game engine, on this new engine they have of Frostbite. So they have to remake certain ancient technology that happened in previous games. And of course, people might, like I already mentioned, like, oh, the engine is bad then. No, it's just because it's a brand new engine, and engines do need to be updated for modern times. And I heard, like, many times, like, working with Frostbite engine on Battlefield 3 and 4 and Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5 and all that kind of stuff, it was abysmal experience. And because they have this new engine, and they fixed a lot of stuff in the background that you probably not noticed, but it's much easier now to work with the game, which is great. That means, and I heard from developers that it's much easier to work with now. It's easier to change something without breaking something in the process, which is great. But so the game was supposed to be, now was supposed to come out this year. Last year, it was supposed to come out in a month or two from now. But the game came out, and they didn't catch up. And the reason why Season 2 was delayed is because they didn't catch up. It's not for the content. It's because the game. Something's happening with the game. And also there was a shift happened in the background, like maybe after Season 1, as soon as it launched, like a month in, there was a shift inside the studio. Because the delay was already been floating around. We were the only ones reporting about the delay back in early December. Early December, we were saying, looks like Season 1 is going to be delayed because the signs are there. No one believed us, but hey, we were right. And no one was reporting, and we were the only ones. That's why you should listen to Battlefield 1 podcast. No one was listening, like no one really noticed or listened or cared. But we were telling you, Season 2 will be delayed. And it was delayed, of course, as we said it, early December. And people say, like, oh, Vincent Pell's death had some impact on this. Like, he had impact on the company, yes, but on overall things that are happening in the background, I'm sorry, but it did not really. Because when it comes to big companies like Battlefield Studios or like EA in general, it's actually not even EA. All the stuff that is happening with Battlefield 6, it's mostly on the DICE side, not EA, because EA is usually really hands-off. But there's like certain people that do control of, have a majority stake at the company or the studio, whatever. They make certain decisions. But anyway, it's a completely different topic entirely. So Vincent Pell's death did not impact that because that was already the delay was happening no matter what. That was official, but we were reporting it's gonna happen, and it did happen. So that was before all this tragedy happened. So that's that. And Season 2 was delayed because something shifted back in November. Something like as Season 1 released. They probably got loads of feedback about the game and all the kind of stuff, with the season and everything. And like, okay, we need to change something now. And Season 2 is locked. We can't change anything. We can't do anything about it. But we can start working on Season 3 and 4 and make sure that, hey, let's remake Golmud, That decision was made pretty recent. You can tell because the way they say it is like, oh yeah, we make a Golmud. Do you have any screenshots or anything? That means you literally just start working on this map just now. And they say, we're going to test it in Battlefield Labs to recreate certain stuff. Okay. So yeah, so you literally made the decision to remake Golmud in December. That's what happened, So you're not going to get Golmud until September as the earliest. That's my prediction. You're not going to get Golmud until earliest September. But Season 2 was delayed because stuff happening in the background, and they have to shift focus to make sure that Season 3 and 4 can do better than, because they couldn't do anything about Season 2. It was something about, it's more of a technical delay than a content delay. So that's what people have to understand. I mean, I don't know if you, as I'm saying this, you really understood that much, but I'm trying. And before we continue to the next topic, I guess, or next conversation thing, let me just quickly mention this. Okay, just give me a couple of minutes, just 2 minutes. Quickly to mention our Patreon, patreon.com/TheLankySoldier. Without our Patreon, this episode wouldn't exist. I know you don't want to listen to ads and everything, but I have to mention to you, Patreon makes this show going. It keeps us grounded. It keeps us motivated to continue with the episodes, make sure that episodes are coming out weekly on a regular basis, on time and all that kind of stuff. And Patreon supporters do get early access to future episodes. So if you subscribe to Patreon, $2 or $5, you get early access with no ads. You're not gonna hear this bit about me telling you about Patreon. You can straight up listen to new episodes on Saturday and Sunday, and you get early access before everyone else. And you help us out financially to make sure that we can pay for whatever we need to make sure this podcast is actually going well, on schedule, and everything's going well, and all that kind of stuff. Also, I don't want you to pay money for us just for the sake of because you like us. No, you get exclusive content, you get exclusive episodes like Live of Gaming Gathering, Lanky Uncensored, all that kind of stuff. So we're talking like 59 with when I'm gonna be recording a new episode with Ray today. It's gonna be 59 episodes of Live Gaming Gathering, just us talking about video games, Battlefield, any other type of game, live, anything that's on our minds, right? This is where we're gonna be. This is where we are. Casual, simple, no drama or anything. We just talk about something that we care about, and people enjoy those conversations. Patreon supporters really enjoy those conversations because it's just being us, free and honest and everything. And it feels like when people listen to us, it feels like you're part of the conversation. And people, when they message us about this, about the topics we discussed on Patreon, they message us like, oh yeah, and that, and they're like, I love having conversations with people about that. So that's great. And like Uncensored is where basically, if you love my voice, this is where I talk about something that's on my mind unfiltered, literally unfiltered. Like I'm going deep in those episodes about something that I really, really care about. Will be, whatever's happening in my life, behind the scenes with the podcast, whatever the case may be. I tell you straight how it is, right? So, and of course, there's behind the scenes stuff, some longer videos, all that kind of stuff. So, your financial support keeps us motivated and keeps us, on the ground, keeps us like, it just makes the show better, and you get something out of it. Just $2, $5. It's not even that expensive. I'm not kidding. I had conversations with Ray and everyone else. I'm really trying to go as low as possible before I start losing money from a Patreon subscription, because Patreon does take a cut. I still get taxed on that kind of stuff. So it's that. So I try to go as low as possible because I know we don't live in really good financial times. I know that not everyone has, every buck matters, every penny matters. So I try to go as low as possible, $2 and $5. Subscribe to any tier you want. You get all the content you want. Thank you so much for all your help. Thank you for all the support. And thank you so much for everything that you guys listen and decide to make your routine when it comes to Battlefield. Thank you so much. Patreon.com/TheLankySoldier. Your support means everything to us. Thank you for your support. And hopefully we're gonna see you there. And use a free trial if you're not sure about subscribing. Just use a free trial. If you like it, continue subscribing. If not, you can always cancel the free trial. You're not gonna get charged. At least you're gonna get the content. And if you're willing to listen to all the content in 7 days, you know what? Up to you, man. Up to you. I'm not gonna judge. It's there for a reason. So thank you so much. Patreon.com/TheLankySoldier. Hopefully we're gonna see you there. And of course join our Discord where we talk about, everything. So anyway, let's go back to Battlefield. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's talk about Season 2 again. So we realized why it was delayed. Because they're already playing catch up and everything. That's that. So lack of content and all that kind of stuff. That was already in line with Season 1. So that's established. So people have mentioned about limited time modes, for example. Is limited time modes content? I say yes, but I understand why people would say no. This is probably the most limited time modes we had ever. I don't think even Battlefield 2042 that had that many limited time modes. We're talking what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 limited time modes in a span of 3 months. So there's VL7 strike, so something with the gas. There's Gauntlet limited time mode, and there's a Battle Royale synthesis limited. That's what's called synthesis limited time mode. Then we have the night map, the limited time mode, Gauntlet night map, and then we have operations as a limited time mode. And the biggest concern or the biggest criticism from all of this I heard is that limited time modes is not content. And why operations, that people's favorite mode from Battlefield 1, operations, whatever, is limited time mode. Why is it limited time mode? Why can't you make it permanent? Here's the thing. Limited time modes are great if done right. It's a perfect way to experiment certain game modes and see if they have any legs to be a more regular game mode, like, Conquest, Rush, and Breakthrough, all that kind of stuff, right? Limited time modes is a perfect way to experiment with some really wacky ideas and really interesting game modes and see how it goes. Maybe people love it, maybe people will hate it, and so on. So far, we had 2 limited time modes. One of them was Sabotage in Season 1. Maybe it was 3. It was strike mode, strike force, strike mode, whatever. It's like the 5-on-5 search and destroy type of thing, but it's not really search and destroy. Is that limited time mode? Anyway, regardless, all the limited time modes we had so far, the only one that stick out like to me was the Winter Offensive one, which is basically took place on the Manhattan Bridge, Empire State map, and it's basically you can't heal or you're gonna take damage if you're outside outside like in the cold, so you're gonna freeze and all that kind of stuff and so on. And to regain your health, you need to go to like little fireplaces and heat up and all that kind of stuff. You know what? It was not that bad. Was it perfect? Of course not. No, it was not. But it was okay. It was like I did not mind it. I did not mind the idea behind it, but it clearly needed some work. Some people really enjoyed it, which is good. Ooh, sorry. It was good, but it's just one of those things like, do we need that? And so now we're going, with Season 2. Now you get like 6 limited time modes, and one of them is operations. You have to understand, if it's good, if the limited time mode is good, if this Nightfall, this night vision thing is good, and the operations thing is good, they can become a permanent thing. It can become a permanent thing. The reason why was it Sabotage or whatever is not gonna become a permanent thing is because it was a shit mode. People play for the specific challenge and that's it. But they did mention in the patch notes, or maybe in the blog, whatever they mentioned, they said, hey, this is the way we're gonna approach the battle pass this season, because we heard your feedback, guys. We heard your feedback. All the challenges and everything will not be specifically related to the game modes. So that means you can play anything you want while completing the battle pass and completing the challenges, which is great. That means it will encourage people to play other modes and just explore, have something different. Instead of playing a mode, a limited time mode for the sake of completing the challenge, you will matchmake to that mode because you want to. And if people want to, specific modes, it's not gonna fuck up their internal data inside the studio when they check who's playing what and how long people have been playing. If people matchmake willingly to those limited time modes and they enjoy them, yes, Battlefield Studios can make these modes permanent, and that's the thing. That's what people don't realize. Limited time modes are a perfect way to test certain modes, and if people really enjoy them, we can make those modes permanent. So if this is a success, like Nightfall and Operation Ogre or whatever it's called, is a success, expect them to come back in Season 3 as an addition to the game. It's like there will be a permanent mode. That happened before and it will happen again. And my only problem with all of this is because Battlefield Studios can't say this detail for some reason anywhere. Why? Like, when I read their blogs right now, the community updates and everything, they're good, but they're so vague and so much missing detail. It's like, did you even think about for a second, just to explain what's going on with the game, right? Just because you mentioned platoons 3-4 months ago doesn't mean we know that the platoons are fucking coming. All we know is scrapped it. You know, this is the same thing with limited time modes. Can you I'm sure, you know, the player base, if you really enjoy these limited time modes, we will return them on a permanent basis. Can you mention that somewhere? And that's been the biggest problem with Battlefield 6 in general. Communication's been really good. Don't get me wrong. The communication's been really, really good. But they've been dropping the ball of just like explaining things, but then not explaining anything at the same time, right? You give me all this information, but at the same time, you give me nothing. So that's the biggest problem. You have to specifically explain what's your purpose with these limited time modes. Yeah, I know the purpose of these limited time modes. If people love them, they will make them permanent. That's a fact. But majority of the people don't know that. They just think limited time modes and call it a day. And a lot of people say like, oh, limited time modes are just to, you know, it's FOMO and all that kind of stuff. Not really, but it's just not really. I mean, I get why people are saying that, but it's not, because what FOMO you gonna get? Especially when they said that the Battle Pass progression is not going to be tied to specific game modes, right? So your weekly challenges will not be tied to specific challenges in those specific modes. So that already idea is being thrown out the window. Like, but people don't know that. People don't know, even though they kind of mention that, but people don't really know that. It's that they don't really mention that. So thing is with Battlefield, I think with seasons, I think they should start making like videos, like overview videos explaining what's happening. Like, make a 5-minute video just covering all the Season 2 stuff, right? Or Season 3, Season 4, right? You need to make some sort of video on the main channel, on your main socials, like Call of Duty does. Like, hey, this is what we're doing. Hey, Rebirth Island is in snow right now, but let me explain why is it in snow, all that kind of stuff, right? Sure, it's gonna be very, very filtered type of thing, but try to explain what's your reasoning behind all your decisions. Like, we might disagree with the decisions, which is fine, but at least explain why you made that decision, and that alone kind of makes it better, more easily digestible. I disagree with you, but I understand. That type of deal, right? So that's when you see all these limited time modes over the roadmap in the patch notes and everything, people are like thinking, why can you make this permanent? Well, play them, enjoy them, and if you really enjoy them, and they will see that in the data that people really enjoy these limited time modes, they will make them permanent. So that's the thing, you will make them permanent. So that's the biggest problem, that people don't really know that, even though it's kind of obvious thing inside the studio. So that's that. But yeah, so that's the limited time modes. What else? Oh yeah, okay. You know what? Next conversation. Let's go with that. Right, so RedSec, for example. RedSec. What does RedSec get with Season 2? Yeah. Absolutely nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. The only thing we get is, in RedSec, is a limited time mode. Cool. Another limited time mode. Cool. A POI update, so a new location. Cool. That's it. Nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. The patch notes didn't even say anything important. The patch notes are so light when it comes to RedSec. So light. RedSec had barely any updates whatsoever. The only thing that was meaningful, that they addressed the weapon progression for BR and Gauntlet players. Cool. It's gonna be somewhat on the same speed as the main multiplayer. Cool. Problem is, Battlefield 6 multiplayer weapon progression is still shit. And they never mentioned this in the patch notes anyway. So I already mentioned this like early in the episode, that they never mentioned weapon progression. Weapon progression is fucking garbage in Battlefield 6. Absolute dog shit. So now they're addressing this in RedSec, like, okay, it's gonna be as fast as Battlefield 6 multiplayer. Cool, that doesn't fix the problem. So at least they did that for RedSec, at least bare minimum, right? Okay, a new location. Alright, I don't really care about the new location. I was like, yeah, it's nice. But again, it's only one location, so I don't really care. Did you do any balances to the game? Weapon balances? No. Did you do any changes to the contracts? No. Did you do anything else? No. Is solos coming? No. Is ranked mode coming? No. And when it comes to ranked and solo, okay, so they mentioned in solos that, okay, they mentioned in labs or whatever, it was blog post or something like that. They mentioned, hey, we're gonna test solos in labs. Okay, when? Apparently, this did it happen already? I haven't seen any leaks so far. Maybe it already happened. So I'm recording this on Saturday 14th. So maybe it already happened. It was supposed to be this weekend. Maybe it happened. I wasn't checking. I was busy with other stuff. So I'll check after the recording. Like, okay, you're testing solos. All right. Is it coming next month? No. And there was a Discord message. Someone asked in, I don't know which Discord was it, but the developer answered, because some guy asked, hey, are we getting solos? Are we getting ranked mode, the leaked ranked mode that they've been working on? And is it coming to RedSec? And one of the developers or community managers, whoever, I don't know who they is, but one of the EA people that works on this game, literally said, not Season 2. Season 2 lasts until May. Something. So you want to tell me 8 months after RedSec's release, we're not gonna have solos in RedSec? In Battle Royale? We're not gonna have fucking solos for 8 months after the game's release? I'm sorry, what are you doing? This is where my emotion took over. This is why I lost composure in the Discord conversation. When I heard that, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I'm usually the guy that tries to find the middle ground, or at least look at the both perspectives when it comes to, like, development and what player base wants. And it's just like, what are you doing? How much testing do you need? Also, there's a completely different conversation entirely. I want to talk about Battlefield Labs at one point, like this next episode, but Battlefield Labs is a failure. Absolute failure. Like, I can't believe it. Like, people that are handling labs, I don't know if it's executives or whoever is making the decisions, I don't know. But I'm just telling you right now, Battlefield Labs, as a concept, is a failure. I think this is a much bigger failure than Battlefield 1 CTE was. Like, Battlefield 4 CTE was a different beast. The Battlefield 4 CTE basically saved that game and it completely changed it forever. Like, it was the proper live service back in the day. CTE was, like, amazing. You should actually listen to the interview we had of former DICE developer that worked at Ripple Effect. I think it was episode 21, 22, I can't remember. We had the interview with the developer. We talked about CTE, why it was so amazing, all that kind of stuff. So CTE, community test environment back in Battlefield 4, was amazing. Battlefield 1 was a bit shit. It's like not really a community test environment. It was just like an early access for the early content, whatever. It was not good. And then you have Battlefield Labs now, Battlefield 6, and you're thinking, oh, okay, we have the same spirit as community test environment from those games. No, Battlefield Labs is a complete failure. Because you don't test. I don't know why you're fucking testing. Why is it in the NDA and there? What do you mean you need to test solos? This solo testing was supposed to happen November, December as bare minimum. As the latest. And yet, you're doing this back in February? In the middle of fucking February? We need to test solos. What testing do you fucking need? It's a solos mode. It's a solos mode. Are you insane? What kind of brain dead decision that is? Anyway, so that's that. Solos is not coming with Season 2. So entirely. So 8 months after the release of fucking RedSec, we don't have solos. Okay. It's just like, okay. Alright, ranked mode was leaked. Like, I was like looking forward to ranked mode because, like, okay, it's a nice filter to finally filter the good players and the bad players and people that actually want to play the game properly, rank mode is gonna be that. So that I was looking forward to the rank mode. Like rank mode is like things like, you know what? Fine. It's not coming with season 2. It's needed, but I can understand to delay that, all that kind of stuff. So that's that. But again, why you not testing that shit in labs? Why you don't have regular fucking playtests in labs to test solos? You test ranked mode, all that kind of stuff, and I don't understand. I don't understand. 8 months later, and so many things missing in RedSec. So many things. And I said this like, what, August? Last year? Maybe even July, even May, or whenever. I said it many times. Before RedSec was even announced or even implied, before they even said officially, yeah, we're making a Battle Royale mode, right? Before they was even officially announced, I said, do not release your Battle Royale, your free-to-play Battle Royale, as soon as Season 1 drops. Do not do that. And they did that. RedSec is so undercooked, so lacking. It's a fun game. It's a fun mode. It really is. Like, loads of people that played RedSec when it came out, reviews for RedSec were really positive. But the biggest criticism they had for RedSec, like even Call of Duty players, the biggest criticism, like the streamers and everything, the pro players, the biggest criticism they have for RedSec, it's much more fun than Warzone, but it's really undercooked, lacking loads of stuff. The stat page, do they have like they said they're introducing a new stat page for Season 2. Okay, is it gonna be like a type of leaderboard thing? I don't know, Is it gonna be like that? Can you see how many wins you got in Battle Royale? Can you compare it to other players? All that kind of stuff. Like stuff like this. Undercooked mode. Released way too early. And I said it back then. Let the multiplayer shine for Battlefield 6. Don't release this Battle Royale mode until now. Battlefield RedSec should be this Season 2 launch thing. This should be this thing. This should be released months later. We know when you have your stat pages and leaderboards and missions. And hey, again, going back on the Battlefield Labs, during all this, hiatus you have your, before the holidays, all that kind of stuff. Why there was no feedback sessions or some sort of playtest happening with the missions? Missions are just stupid the way they work right now, because it's just like they need loads of work. Like the idea is not bad, but it's just like we talked about it. I think I mentioned on the last episode why missions just don't make sense at this point, because they need loads of work and rework. But there's nothing happening in Battlefield Labs. They have these specific moments where they can test something specific. I'm like, bruh, it's a solos mode or whatever the case may be. Why are you taking so fucking long? Are you insane? This is why you're losing your player base. That's why you're losing people. It's because you're taking too fucking slow to do some important changes. I don't give a damn about fucking, like, they even ported the Battlefield 2042 weapon, which is quite funny in this Season 2. So it was the VCR2 or whatever, like, which is fine. Anyway, there's so many things that are happening in the back. I get live service game and all that kind of stuff, but like, bruh, you should, like, how many? This is your third live service game in Battlefield franchise. You can't figure this out yet? I mean, sure, it's a bit better than it was Battlefield 2042. Don't get me wrong, but you still haven't figured it out. And also, if you have labs, why don't you fucking use it? So yeah, RedSec is not getting any updates. RedSec is basically on hiatus. Like, it's in hibernation now. There's no changes. There's nothing happening important in RedSec. And it's just, fuck knows if there's a leaderboard and stats. Like they said, there's a new stats leaderboard for your character and see. I don't know what that means. So when I'm gonna launch the game on Tuesday, I'm gonna see how it is. But there's nothing. RedSec has getting also Elite Series. Do we know anything about the Elite Series? They haven't mentioned anything. That's a big fucking red flag that Elite Series that was supposed to happen in December, the competitive tournament for RedSec, was cancelled literally last minute because the update was so fucking horrible back in December. So it was probably the worst update we ever had for Battlefield 6. And like, it was cancelled. We heard nothing about it. Not even a peep. Like, I'm recording this again on Saturday, 2 days before the Season 2 drops, there was no mention of Elite Series whatsoever. Nowhere mentioned. Not in the community blog, not in the patch notes, not in the anything else. Just like, we ignore it like it never happened. What's happening? What is going on? So I know there's gonna be supposed to be a roadmap, but I'm already going off tangent here with regard. But anyway, yeah, RedSec is basically, it's still fun. Don't get me wrong. I'm still gonna play RedSec as much as I can. But Jesus Christ, do something. Do something. And like, there's no solo mode until May. Are you insane? Are you insane? Are you absolutely spastic? What are you thinking? Again, I don't want to get too angry, but I'm just like, yeah, RedSec is basically dead until. So, and I remember I saw Westy, I think, mentioned on Twitter or something like that, the way he thinks. And RedSec is taking a hiatus, is going to be in hibernation until later this year. They're going to try to relaunch RedSec with some new big relaunch or big update or whatever later this year. That's his opinion. That's what's going to happen. You know what? I might believe that. I actually can believe that. Like, because RedSec did well in terms of like the presentation itself. People enjoy RedSec, but people agree. Everyone agreed. RedSec is just extremely undercooked. And they definitely need more time. You know? And maybe they're doing something in the background, you know, to improving and all that kind of stuff, which is great. But when's it gonna be? Like what? Later this year? So I guess we just looking at dust, you know, collecting dust with RedSec until they gonna relaunch the game again. We'll see, I guess, but that's that. All right, let's go to the next topic. Okay, so it's a quick one, just because I just want to mention this quickly. People say we need more maps in Battlefield 6. I think I mentioned already early in this episode. Do we need new maps? I don't know. I you know what? Like I said, I don't think we need. We just need good quality updates that change the game drastically in some shape or form. You know, to improve the game. Like, okay, the people say we need one more map. Okay, what are you gonna do with that one extra map? Okay, you're gonna. All right, let's say they. It would be nice if they could port Battlefield 2042 Portal maps. I mean, sure, port them. Maybe redesign them a little bit and all that kind of stuff. Port them to Battlefield 6. I know you can because they already ported certain weapons to Battlefield 6. So why can't you just, you know, do with mouse? I mean, you could port them. I mean, sure, I understand it's not the same game and there's different mechanics entirely. But, like, you could port them, I guess. Like, for Nasha Canals, I'm pretty sure you can do that. So that's that. Like, do we need more maps? Like, I don't think one extra map is gonna fix anything. Just because you have one extra map, suddenly, oh, everything's great now. No, they're still gonna have the same problems that you have with Battlefield 6. The progression, you know, the other stuff, like the content and everything. And it's just like, I don't think an extra map fixes anything with Battlefield 6. And it's going back to the same thing I mentioned about coming out too early. It's like, a new map is not gonna fix anything. It's just like, okay, you get a new map every month. Would be ideal, don't get me wrong. Would be fucking fantastic. Like, hey, you get a new map every month. That's great. I think that's a perfect live service game. Like 12 maps a year, like every month, and top of other stuff. Great. That's just sounds fantastic. But I'm just like, does it fix anything? I don't think it does. I really don't think so. It's just like, I kind of have to disagree with everyone screaming like, oh, we need a new map, but otherwise the game is boring and everything. You're gonna get bored of that one map in a week or two. That's the thing. Like, a new map, no matter how, they can release 2 maps every month, right? Let's say. People are gonna get bored regardless. Just new map is not gonna change anything. Yeah, it's a different a different environment, all that kind of stuff. That's great, but that doesn't fix the general problem with Battlefield 6, right? That's what I'm saying. I don't think a new map makes any difference. You know, another extra map, yeah, it would be lovely, of course, but I don't think it fixes the problem, you know, which is the game itself. And like, that's what pisses me off. Like, people love to, like, especially the content creators now are going on a bandwagon. Like, let's bitch about Battlefield 6 right now. Like, they need an extra map. Doesn't fix anything. You know? That's why I don't get it. Like, it doesn't fix anything. The game is so problematic with other stuff. A new map doesn't make anything. It's just like, it just doesn't fix all the problems we have. You're gonna get bored of the new map just like you got bored of other maps. You know? That's the thing. And I'd rather have quality maps over quantity maps. You know, or like, so far from what it seems, these two new maps we're getting in Season 2 will be great maps. Much better maps than we got in Season 1. Maybe even launch day. And if we can continue that, great. Just make quality maps, and I think people will be happy later on. So that's the thing. You know, I hope they have a vision in that and believe in that. So that's great. I do think that Season 3 we're going to get more maps, though. I do think Season 3 we're going to get one extra map just to shut people up. It's not going to be the greatest map. I don't think it will be. But I think it will get an extra map in Season 3 just because people are screaming about it. So I think that's that. Yeah, I don't think the new map is gonna, like, it's important. But I just want to mention that quickly. Okay, I've been rambling for a while, so let's just end our overall impressions of the roadmap, the patch notes, whatever the case may be, right? What's my overall impression of all of this? And before we just gonna end the show, and you can go play Season 2. Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you all. The roadmap looked fine to me. We're getting 5 new weapons, great. We're getting 2 new maps, great. We're getting some actually interesting, very unique limited time modes. And like I said earlier in the show, limited time modes can be permanent if they're really popular. So if these limited time modes are popular and people enjoy them, Battlefield Studios will make them permanent modes. That's great. Fantastic. And I personally disagree with people screaming that one extra map will fix anything. I don't think it will fix anything. I don't think it will, because if you read the patch notes and when you play in Season 2 right now, they still haven't addressed the weapon progression. They haven't addressed the platoons. They haven't. The portal changes are not coming until April as bare minimum, and that's again they mentioned in the patch notes. They're not that significant changes. Skins look better. I did see the skins you can get in the battle pass. The skins are much better. They improvement from Season 1, so that's great. So they did address some of the feedback, and people still screaming about premium, and I'm just gonna say no, premium is not gonna fix anything, because like been saying like a broken record, 1.3% of Battlefield 1 player base back in 2016, 17, 18, 17, 16, 17, only 1.3% of the entire Battlefield 1 player base owned premium. I don't care how you try to spin it, but as a business, entity, those are abysmal numbers. Those are abysmal numbers for the premium service, right? Maybe it was a bit high, maybe it was a high Battlefield 4 and 3, what fuck knows, but when it comes to Battlefield 1, yeah, it was a dying breed of, I don't know what to call it, content release, whatever you want to call this. Yeah, premium is not coming back because it just doesn't make sense. Technically, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So, also, if premium is, let's say, Battlefield 7 has premium, what? You want PlayStation to have 1 month exclusivity for the DLC? No, you don't. It's fucking stupid and garbage, and it's just no. Especially when there's crossplay and everything, is the standard. So there'll be companies, and and it's not like EA can say, EA can say no, like no, we don't want this. But then again, hey, here's a bag of money from PlayStation, from Sony, saying, hey, we're gonna make your DLC exclusive on our platform for a month, and you get this bag of money. Of course, EA is gonna be like, bet, and that's the end of story. Like, they don't care as long as they get the money. EA gets the money for the product. And if PlayStation is willing to pay that premium, right? Haha, premium to get that exclusivity for a month for the DLC, so people can buy a PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 6, whatever, to play Battlefield 7 or 6, whatever, with premium. I'm like, yeah. They'll squeeze that lemon until it's dry like a motherfucker. So bringing premium is not the right choice. Like, people don't look at the bigger picture. But anyway, going back on the season 2, I think it's fine. I think it's fine in terms of, like, for the multiplayer itself. When it comes to RedSec, absolutely dog shit, uncertainty. I don't understand what they are doing. What are they thinking? Like, the Battlefield Labs is a complete failure if you still haven't tested solos at this point. What are you doing in the background? Again, I know you're doing catch up with, early release of Battlefield 6 because the game was not supposed to come out 4-5 months ago, right? I get it. So you're doing catch up, all that kind of stuff. Galore Railway, it's not coming until September, like I said, my prediction, because they have to remake everything, and maps take ages, and it sounds like they only started making the maps, just like the map itself, just now, and people bitching about the delay. What's the point of the delay? Well, the delay was not for the content, the delay was for other background technical stuff that, hey, maybe the update was fucking garbage, maybe the game was fucking broken. And that's why, like, there's so many things that they have to do in the background to make sure that this game is still working and still not become a complete disaster. I'm pretty sure they don't want another shitty update that was the December update, the Winter Offensive update. The Winter Offensive update was a complete disaster. And it took them a week. I'm glad they fixed it. Like, they fixed the game in a week and everything. Like, well, fixed it. They fixed all the major problems, so we can actually play the game and enjoy it without problems. But why that's supposed to happen in the first place? So that's that. Like, they rather release a quality update than, risk another disaster and we're gonna lose more people, RedSec is like, yeah, not getting any updates. All that kind of stuff. And Vince Zampella is dead. Like, had an impact, yes. We brought new people, the new creative executive from The Division came in, as a replacement, all that kind of stuff. And there's some like the Saudis gonna take control of the EA soon. So there's loads of stuff happening in the background, right? And I think the biggest changes, like, if season 3 is gonna be the same as seasons 2 and 1, that's where they're like, okay, now we can admit that, hey, Battlefield 6, well, like I said a year ago, Battlefield 6 will be like a gap here, like that game that will buy them time to sort their shit before Battlefield 7. So I said this a year ago and people did not believe me. Battlefield 6 sounds like that type of game that is just designed to be a game to buy them time for Battlefield 7. And we're already talking about Battlefield. In the last episode we talked about Battlefield 7 because they're already working on the next title. They are. That's just the reality, because it takes ages to make these games. It takes ages to make these games. And it's funny how Battlefield 6 at the moment is following the same pattern as Modern Warfare 2022 game. So in 2022, so 4 years ago when Modern Warfare 2 came out, Battlefield 6 is doing basically the same mistakes, which is like, it's a good game underneath, but it's so undercooked, questionable decisions, lack of content. For example, Warzone 2.0 came out right like 2 weeks after the game came out. RedSec came out 2-3 weeks after the game came out for Battlefield 6, and we have the same problems. No one, like, it's a good game underneath. Like, there's a good game somewhere there, but it was so undercooked in so many aspects. That's why the game was not that fun, because it was undercooked so badly. And Battlefield 6 is basically following the same fucking pattern. So if we follow the same pattern with Battlefield 6 and Modern Warfare 2022, according to this, well, if we follow the pattern, Battlefield 7 is going to be an amazing game. Battlefield 7 is going to be such a fucking masterpiece But people are not gonna be interested because they will think that, hey, this is what Battlefield 6 was supposed to be. Battlefield 7 will be built on Battlefield 6. It's gonna be a little bit faster, maybe a little bit more sharp and more responsive and all that kind of stuff, right? All the stuff they want for Battlefield 6 will be done for Battlefield 7. And that's what people are like, oh, it looks like a DLC. It's like an expansion for Battlefield 6 or whatever. This was supposed to be Battlefield 6, but now they charge me as a separate part. So that's what Modern Warfare 3 was back in 2023. Modern Warfare 3 was a fantastic Call of Duty game. And the reason it was fantastic is because it was built on Modern Warfare 2. They took everything that was Modern Warfare 2 and they started like fixing the problems. Like, okay, just improving it. Like, okay, remove this, include that, but the basis was still the same. The foundation was still the same. So Battlefield 6 is basically, sounds like if Season 3 is the same as Season 1 and 2. And there's minimal updates, and maybe we're gonna get fucking solos finally for RedSec. Like, whatever the case may be. If it's still the same, then yes, I think we can officially say that, hey, Battlefield 6 is that game to buy them some time before the new game. I think we can officially say, hey, this is a gap here. It doesn't matter anymore. What matters is the future at that point. I'm asked, what they're gonna do with Battlefield 7. At that point, we can start having conversations if Battlefield 7 is the answer to all our problems. If Season 3 is like that. But going back on Season 2, I think it's okay for now to multiplayer, but RedSec needs some work. It needs some work. It needs updates and everything. But it looks like it's gonna be in hibernation until September, until Gormal Railway, until Propaganda, on all the other maps and all that kind of stuff. I think we're in this. RedSec is a hibernation mode, and for 2-3 seasons it seems like. Maybe when Souls comes out, maybe that's where all the good shit is gonna start happening. But at the moment, it's in hibernation. Sure, there will be some changes happening with Season 2, but if they haven't mentioned, there's not gonna be anything big or important. So that's unfortunate. Other than that, I mean, I don't know what else to say. Like, yeah, loads of people are mad. People are mad. Like, you heard me in the middle of the show at one point. I kind of didn't lose my composure, but I'm like, I want to scream at developers because it's easy to scream at them. But I'm just like, I don't want to. But at the same time, you kind of not give me a choice. You kind of like, it kind of screams incompetence, unfortunately. And I don't want to say that because I know that talented people working on these games, loads of talented people are working in these games, but at the same time, I can't be biased all the time. I have to be like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you doing? What's the... Like, can you at least come out in some shape or form? Because, I mean, sure, you're still a public company, technically, but maybe you can finally shift to be a private company because Saudi is going to be a private thing. EA is going to be a private company. Maybe you can start shifting, explaining your decisions. Please. Just explain something to us. What's going on? What's the plan? I know there's a roadmap supposed to come out in a week or two. Maybe this week. When I'm recording, when you're gonna be listening to this episode, maybe a roadmap is already out for 2026 for Battlefield 6. Fuck knows. Just talk to us, you know. And labs, please start working on labs. Use the fucking opportunity. Drop the NDA. Do more playtests. Sort your invites for Battlefield Labs and start doing testing. I don't understand why it's taking so long. I understand it's a hard work and everything, but sometimes it just seems like incompetence sometimes. And I don't want to say that, but it seems like incompetence sometimes. Like, what are you doing? I do not believe that you can't sort this out. I do not believe this. You are talented individuals and teams and everything. You can do it. I don't understand what's going on. Like, and I'm usually a neutral point, like, I'm a neutral type of guy. Talk to us. Just sort it out. But yeah, that's that. So, anyway, I think I'm just gonna start mumbling because I'm going through my notes and like, what else I can talk about here? Like, yeah, nothing much. Just like patch notes and everything, missing stuff. yeah, just like whatever. It's like anyway. I'm gonna end it here because I don't want to mumble too much. So I'm just gonna say this. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for everything. Thank you, our patient supporters, for supporting the show. Thank you for everything, all that kind of stuff. Please let me know how season 2 is. You know, as you're done listening to this episode, please let me know how season 2 is. Like, you know, leave a comment, leave a like, and just join our Discord. Let me know everything. How's everything going? Like, is season 2 a good season? How the new weapons? How's the battle pass? How's the, you know, how the map and everything? You know, let me know. How's everything feeling? Apparently they did some character changes, like how soldier moves and everything. So hey, apparently recall stuff. Cool. Let me know. You know, maybe you listen to this as you play season 2. Great. Just let me know how it is. I'm really, really curious about your opinions, all that kind of stuff. Of course, follow our socials, you know, like I said, join our Discord, all that kind of stuff. Just talk to us. Talk to us. Be involved. You know, share this podcast. Let everyone know, hey, there's a Battlefield-related podcast out there. Just wants to talk about Battlefield, and just let us know. Yeah, so thank you guys for listening. Thank you for everything. And please subscribe to Patreon, of course, patreon.com/TheLankySoldier. Listen to our ramblings where me and Ray are talking about this in a more emotional, unfiltered way on Patreon. So, extra episodes, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, subscribe to Patreon. Just $5 and you get that extra episodes. 59 episodes at this point. So, yeah, let me know how everything's going. And subscribe to Patreon, join our Discord, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. See you guys on the Battlefield. Thank you for listening to my ramblings. We'll see you next week, as usual. Thank you. Bye.